Hi everyone, my name is Amber, welcome back to my channel. This is a book unhaul. I have lots of books here today. I think I have probably 20 plus, and I'm really excited because charity shops are finally opening again this month. Probably the week that you are seeing this, but they might already be open. I am so happy because I miss going charity shop shopping. I get a lot of secondhand books from charity shops and I love supporting them, and there are a few just up the road from me where I know there are some books that I really want to buy, but I know that they're in the charity shop, so I might as well wait. I am going to eventually build a little free library in my garden, or I'm going to ask Quill to build one for me, but we haven't managed to do that yet, and I do need to get rid of some of these books. I may hold on to half of them perhaps, and maybe give a mixture to the charity shop and hold on to half of them so that I can put them in the little free library, but I don't know when that's going to happen, so that might be another year yet. So I don't really want to hold on to these books for a whole year. But there are some popular books here that I am getting rid of for various reasons. There are some not so popular ones, there are duplicates, and there's just a bunch of things. So let's get into it before you guys get bored. The first ones that I am getting rid of are the Brandon Sanderson books. So I love Mistborn. I adore it, and I love the Stormlight Archive, but I just cannot get on board with the new Mistborn trilogy. I just find them really boring. So I'm unhauling The Alloy of Law, Shadows of Self, and The Bands of Mourning. When I eventually read the final book in this series, I'll probably try to borrow it from the library, just because I don't want them on my shelf. I'm not going to reread them, and I don't really see the point in them taking up space just to make my Brandon Sanderson collection look good. I need this space for half of the Stormlight book, which is probably about the size of these. So yeah, I'm getting rid of these, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't love them. Tell me what you think of these books in the comments below, because they feel very different to the old Mistborn books, or the original Mistborn books. I just miss Bin and Calcia. That's all that's happening here. I'm also unhauling Here and Now and Then by Mike Chen. I read this one back in January and I did enjoy it. I gave it 3 stars. It's not one that I'm going to reread. I'm doing a project mildly kind of on this, and I still haven't finished it, so I'm probably going to hang on to the book until then, until I'm done with the project, but I only have to read one more book for that, so it won't take long at all. So this is one that I'm donating. I'm giving away The Nightingale by Kristen Hannah. This is one that I read for a Kristen Hannah project. I will leave a link up above and down below if you want to go and watch that video. It's a fun one where I read 4 Kristen Hannah books and decided which one I liked the most, and it wasn't this one. So I did enjoy this. I still gave it 4 stars, but it's not one that I'm going to reread, and also my friend from work wants it, so I'm gonna give it to her. I'm unhauling Sabriel by Garth Nix, and the only reason I'm unhauling this is because I have a better edition of it. It's a much nicer cover that came out last year, so I haven't read this one yet, and I've been meaning to for years. I've had it for the longest time, but I don't need 2 copies on my shelf. I'm unhauling Siri, Who Am I? This is a adult contemporary about a woman who loses her memory. It wasn't anything special, so because I don't ever want to reread it, I'm going to give it away. I'm giving away 2 copies of The Twisted Ones. I got these 2 for my birthday, and I'm so appreciative of my friends who sent them to me. I can't remember who it was. There was Kayla, and I think there was Stephanie. Yeah, Stephanie. They both sent me the same book for my Amazon wishlist, and I did really enjoy this book. I found it really creepy, but it's probably not one that I'm going to reread, which is why I'm going to give it to someone, or I might give one to the charity shop and keep one for myself for my little free library. I'm also unhauling A Spark of White Fire, but only once I've recapped it for recaptains. There are quite a few books here actually that I need to recap before giving them away. This one is YA sci-fi. It's about, I don't even really know what it's about, to be honest, anymore. It's about a girl called Esme who finds out that she's part of a royal family from a planet, and there's supposed to be this big competition where she wins as an archer, but that's over in the first chapter, and then it kind of becomes a political thing. And yeah, I didn't really love it. I gave it 3 stars at the time. It's probably more of a 2 now. Another Kristen Hannah book I'm giving away is Firefly Lane. This is the one that has been adapted into a TV show recently, which I started but didn't really like. I did really enjoy this book. I gave it 4 stars. It made me cry a lot, but again, it's not one that I want to reread, and I don't really want it taking up space on my shelf, and I've got so many other books on there that I care more about, so yeah, giving this one away. I'm unhauling Bitten by Kelly Armstrong. I am doing a reread of the series. If you've been watching my videos this past year then, or past few months, you'll know. I'm currently on book 5, and I don't love the first 2 books, so I don't see the point in hanging on to this one, because I'm not going to reread it again after I've already reread it once. It's just not something that I would feel the need to pick up again, even if my friends do another reread. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one away. There are 2 more books here that I do need to recap before giving away. The first one I think was either a DNF or it's one that I ended up skim reading, and that is Playing with Fire by Gina Showalter. This is about a woman who has fiery powers. I think she gets injected by someone and that gives her powers or something like that. I didn't really love this. I found it really boring. I thought it was going to be kind of like an old school urban fantasy romance kind of thing. Instead it was just kind of dull, and the action just was not great. So yeah, giving this one away. The other one that I want to recap is The Princess Diaries. I read this as part of a challenge where I was going to try to read my childhood favourites, but I've kind of abandoned that video now just because the footage is so old from November that I didn't really see the point in posting it. Let me know if you'd still like to see that video though. That would be maybe something that I could pick up again. So I read this, really enjoyed it again, and I do want to carry on with the series and finish it off, but I don't see the point in hanging on to it because I'm probably going to get the other books from the library. The next one is one that I DNF'd actually at the beginning of the year, and that is The Lightest Object in the Universe. This is about, it's post-apocalyptic. I think a disease has spread, or, oh no, sorry, the electrical grid has gone down. One guy needs to get from the east coast to the west coast to find his girlfriend or someone that he's interested in, and she wants to go and find him as well, I think. And yeah, I just couldn't get into it. The writing style was just all a bit boring, and it wasn't very exciting for a post-apocalyptic book, so didn't love it. Then we have Revenger, which again I need to recap for recaptions before I do give it away. This one I can't really remember what it's about at all, which is really bad. I'm going to have to skim read it again before I do the recap. I think I started recapping it and I got about that far through, which is why there's a train ticket in there from 2017. I think this was actually a train ticket from when I was going to see Quill. Interesting. Anyway, so I didn't love this book. I think I gave it 3 stars when it first came out. So it wasn't the worst book, it's just not one that I'm going to reread again. The next one is a book that I hated, and that is Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I've tried to read this book so many times and I finally managed it, and I gave it 1 star. So I've tried it as in physical format, I've tried it as an ebook, and I've tried it as an audiobook, and I just hated it in every single format. I didn't like the writing style. I didn't like the kind of over descriptive writing that J. Kristoff has. I didn't like the footnotes either. They were just, that was a load of nonsense. And I also didn't like that J. Kristoff wrote graphic sex scenes between 2 teenagers, and they were from the point of view of a teenage girl. I don't know, I just didn't really enjoy that. I don't really see why that had to be described. I mean, if you're writing about teenagers and you want it to be a steamy scene, then that just seems a bit off to me. Not that I'm trying to imply anything, it just made me very uncomfortable and I didn't like that. So I am of the strong opinion that that should have faded to black, or should have been cut out, or the characters could have been older. That would have saved us all a lot of time and energy. I'm also giving away the exact opposite of Okay. I reread this one recently to recap it. It's a YA contemporary feminist book and I did really enjoy it. I gave it 4 or 5 stars I think when I read it, but it's not one that I'm going to reread again. I think I'm a little bit too old for it now, and I fully acknowledge that. So I'm going to give this one away either through my library, or through the charity shop. I'm going to give away Hold Back the Stars, which is adult science fiction romance, I would say. I liked it, it was okay. I only gave it 3 stars though. It was very fast paced, very enjoyable. It has 3 like alternate sort of endings. That was a very interesting take, but it's not something that I would reread. I'm giving away one book that I haven't actually read because it's another duplicate. This one was sent to me by Lena, and I think Justine sent me the other one, my other copy, and that is The Gutter Prayer. I'm so excited to read this book, and Quill actually wants to buddy read this one with me, so I might keep hold of this copy while we buddy read it and then put this one in my little free library because I'm so excited for it. Apparently it's really weird and also really dark. I honestly just can't wait. It's about sorcerers and thieves and things. Then we have The Bear and the Nightingale, which I did not enjoy. I think I gave it 3 stars, probably 2.5 on reflection. This is meant to be like a magical fantasy book set in Russia. Old school witchcraft magic kind of stuff is fading away while Christianity is kind of taking over. But the main character is a young girl and she has sort of magical affinities, particularly with the forest and with animals. I liked the concept a lot, and I'm tempted to read the second book because apparently the second book gets a lot better, but I just found this really slow and quite boring, and the world building was all right, but nothing really stand out. I've read so many books like this before, and I'm really sad because this is a lot of people's favorite book. Everyone loves the Winter Night trilogy apart from me apparently. So yeah, I think I might try to read the second book in the series and see how that goes, but I'm going to get it from the library, the actual library. I also just saw that it's blurbed by Naomi Novik, and I tried to read her book Uprooted as an audiobook like years ago, and I didn't love that one either. So it makes sense that these two have kind of a similar writing style and they love each other's books. That's great, but I did not love this one. Okay, we're down to the last 3 books, and then I think that's it for the next few months. The next one I have here is The Library of the Unwritten. This is about a librarian who works in hell in a library. She has to make sure that things don't escape. It's a really cool concept. I just didn't really like this one. It was kind of a magical road trip, and that's not really my kind of thing. I really like road trips, but only if you know the destination beforehand, not when you're suddenly like sucked through a portal and you have to go from one place and then you're suddenly told at that place that thing that you want isn't there and you have to go to the next place. That's not the kind of road trip that I like. I like it when there's a clear destination in mind and you know what to expect along the way, if that makes any sense at all. It's very picky of me, but that's just something that I don't like. So I'm giving this one away once I've recapped it. I'm also giving away another 1-star book, and that is Rosewater. I hated this one. I do need to recap it at some point, but I just can't bring myself to do it because I honestly despised it. I don't know how it's gotten so many good reviews because it's so bad. It's really badly written, in my opinion, of course. The writing style isn't great, and then there's a bunch of random sex scenes, except they're not real sex scenes. They're kind of all in the guy's mind. So we're basically reading about him having wet dreams just constantly. I didn't like it. Needless to say, it wasn't my kind of thing. I didn't like being suddenly dragged out of a scene in order to read about this guy having sex with someone. It didn't appeal to me at all. Won't be continuing with the trilogy, I think it is. It's a shame because I know a lot of people love this one, and I think the author's coming out with another book in the future, which I might try to check out, but I'm going to read the reviews very closely before I even consider picking it up. Another book I'm unhauling is one that I read recently for a storygraph challenge. I will link the video up above. That is The Future of Another Timeline. This one was just 2.5 stars for me. It was a very average book, science fiction about a woman who is a time traveler and she goes back in time to the 19th century, and also another teenage girl who's living in the 90s and her friend keeps killing people. I really enjoyed the 1990s plot, but the other one was not so fun. So yeah, I'm unhauling this. It's unfortunate, but it just wasn't the best book. And then finally, I think for now, I'm going to unhaul Wranglestone. This is one that I actually really enjoyed. I think I gave it 4 stars. It feels like a 4-star read anyway. I read it last year when it came out, and it's about zombies and also 2 gay teenage boys. These teenagers live on an island, and then one day these zombies get to the island and cause havoc. And it's a really good book. I really enjoyed it. I'm going to recap it again before I get rid of this one, and then I'm going to read the sequel, probably from the library, or I might see if the publisher can send me a copy. I did really enjoy it, but it's not something that I really want to reread or keep on my shelf for kind of like good memories or anything, so I'm going to unhaul that. So those are all the books that I will be unhauling. I don't tend to keep books that I'm never going to reread, even if I did enjoy them, because I know if I'm going to want to reread a book, if it's an all-time favourite. Other ones look really good on my shelf, so I will keep those, but just your standard like 3 stars, 4 stars, I don't tend to keep unless they're for a special project or someone sent them to me and it's like a special memory for me or something like that, just because I have not very limited shelf space. I've got quite a lot of space in this house now, but I want to keep that space for books that I want to read in the future. So I want a huge like TBR pile, which I do have already, and I want to keep the books that have good memories for me or that are my all-time favorites and I want to look at lovingly rather than just, you know, random books. So that's my unhaul. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'll speak to you all in the next one. Bye.